Exclusive story, but let's turn our attention to HDFC Bank. The fundamental news with regard to the operational update we'll get to in just a bit, but the MSCI angle, that's something that we'll be focusing on. In the last 90 minutes, 60 minutes actually or so, we did get the shareholding pattern, and out there the FI holding has come down, and that's why in fact it's opened up some part of a headroom in terms of foreign ownership. But has it reduced by enough? To help us out with that analysis, Sriram Velayudhan, the Vice President, Alternate Research at IIFL Securities, joins us. Hi Sriram, and thanks a lot for joining in. It must be very, very busy. You must be getting a lot of calls as well. But we're just doing some rough math with them. And it appears, yes, the FI ownership has come down, but it's not fallen by enough. And that's why it could miss out on that weight increase from the MSCI. You give us your first thoughts.
Sure, Nigel. Hi. So the March quarter shareholding was released a few minutes back. Interestingly, the room has opened up. All this while, if one looks at the flows and all, it was evident that FPIs have been seller in this name. The room has opened up till 24.95%, which is short of 5 basis points, basis the methodology for an weight increase. Now, what I would like to highlight is we have to be cognizant of the fact that when the stock got added post-merger, despite of the stock having a room of above 15% at 17.5 it was, the index provider had used an adjustment factor of half because they wanted to avoid the risk of reverse turnover. Correct. Though it should have had an adjustment factor of 1, for avoiding the risk of reverse turnover, they used half as the adjustment factor. So we will have to wait for clarity from the index provider because it entails a very big churn. And like you know, the index providers are quite sensitive to the churn value in the stock. It will entail almost an inflow of $3 billion. But basis the methodology, it isn't fulfilling the condition. It fell short by 5 basis points.
All right, Sriram, just to ask you a counter question, as you have detailed that to us, the number is coming at around 24.95%. It should have been at around 25%, and that's how that 5
Correct.
basis points is the miss.
Correct.
But, so now it's at the discretion of the index, of the MSCI. Have they made an exception in the past? That's point number one. And do you think this time around as well, there could be a possible exception that they make? What is your take? Take us through history first and your expectation.
Largely, Nigel, there hasn't been any exception. We have to be cognizant of this fact. But like you know, we haven't come across a big churn statistics as well. As I said, under the pretext of avoiding reverse turnover. So what I mean by reverse turnover is, let's say, if I start with an adjustment factor of 1, and if it would have led to almost 2.5, 3 billion buying by the FPIs, then again they would have been compelled to reduce the adjustment factor. Correct? Because basis the methodology, now if one goes back into the methodology for treating the adjustment factors, it should have been 1 in place of half, as it had the foreign room of about 15%. Correct. So in this case, it just fell short by 5 basis points, and we have a big churn inflow event as such. Correct. So basically, if you look at the quantum of the churn that the weight up entails, you never know. MSCI might take a subjective call. But as I said, basis the methodology, it is not fulfilling the condition. And the final call lies with the index providers.
All right, Sriram, great explanation, and thank you very much for joining us, in a very timely way to help our viewers understand some of what may happen. I mean, MSCI, of course, as you guys have been saying, will have to take a call. By the way, did you guys see Samir Arora's tweet on this?
No.
I wanted to put this up, but we don't have it ready. He said, it was, of course, a slightly, Samir being Samir, but he said, if lots of foreign investors have sold lots of HDFC Bank in the recent quarter, then lots of foreign investors will have to buy lots of HDFC Bank in the
So therefore, the wage increase is possible.
So the room has to open up. But of course, this is in jest and, but funny. Well, Devin